Spider-Man woke up and found himself hanging in the air, with his hands tied to a wire on the ceiling. Green Goblin said in front of him that he had some skills that they had, and they could use them for a bigger purpose. Spider-Man asked what that would be, and Green Goblin told him that there are many in the city that have done wrong to people, making them suffer extremely. If they find the ones responsible, including the one he is after, they can bring peace to the city once and for all. Spider-Man tells Green Goblin that he is done hurting innocent people and he can't work with a murderer that killed those police officers and nearly killed Captain Stacy. Down below, Norman could hear the chatter above. He found a staircase that led to them and he went up with caution, with his gloves on him. Green Goblin told Spider-Man that he killed the officers to make his point, to try and get the answers he wanted to find Flint Marko. Spider-Man asks Green Goblin why Marko means so much to him. Green Goblin answered with a scoff and anger that he is the reason he has become this, and it is because of Flint Marko that Peter Parker is in a coma in the hospital. Spider-Man was silent, not wanting Goblin to know that he is Flint Marko. Green Goblin squatted in front of Spider-Man at eye level and told him the things they could accomplish together, and he just had to say yes. Norman makes it to the floor they're in and tells Goblin that he isn't going anywhere this time. Norman raises his hand and makes his fingers make a gun impersonation. A beam came out and it hit Green Goblin, making him fall back to a brick wall. Spider-Man sees Norman and Norman fires at the ceiling and frees Spider-Man. Norman helps Spider-Man up, asking if he was alright. "I will be until Goblin is down," said Spider-Man. Green Goblin got up, seeing Spider-Man and Norman in front of him. He paused when he saw Norman, knowing that this wasn't supposed to happen. He said to Norman that he shouldn't be part of this, but Norman tells him in anger that he stole his equipment, killed his security, which led him into losing his job, and now he's gonna get it back. Norman fired, and Green Goblin dodged it while summoning his glider. The glider reacted and flew to Green Goblin. Green Goblin got on and said, "So be it." He pulled out a handful of flying knives and threw them, targeting Norman and Spider-Man. Spider-Man quickly webs them with his webs, and Norman took the shot, blowing them all up since they were all together from Spider-Man's webs. From the thick smoke, Green Goblin threw straight through it and started to fire hot lead. Spider-Man quickly webbed Green Goblin's face and the firing stopped. Norman fired again and it hit the glider, making it fall to the floor. The glider was powered down. Green Goblin tore the web from his face and kicked Norman back. Norman flew back and hit the wall, getting knocked out. Green Goblin fights Spider-Man hand-to-hand combat. He triumphantly wins at it since Spider-Man was still trying to heal from the wounds he got from that alleyway fight. Green Goblin has Spider-Man beat to the ground, and he pulls Spider-Man's mask off. He sees in shock and loss of words that Flint Marko was Spider-Man. Green Goblin says with his fists clenched that he has been looking for him, and now he can have the opportunity to watch him suffer. "You better get going home, because there's a surprise waiting for you," Green Goblin says to Flint as he cackles. Flint looks at Goblin in fear as Goblin gives him back his mask. Flint puts it on and runs out of there, swinging back to his home as fast as he could. His family, especially his daughter, might be in danger. As Spider-Man is swinging over there, Green Goblin's glider turns back on. Green Goblin gets on it and looks over at Norman. He finds a fascination in the gloves he was wearing and he takes them. I never wanted you to intervene my vengeance, Father, Green Goblin says as he's going after Spider Man. Spider Man sees his home ahead and he calls out his daughter and wife's names. When he believed there was hope that they're alive and well, Green Goblin comes in out of nowhere and shoots a beam at Spider Man, knocking Spider Man back. Green Goblin then fires torpedoes at the apartment, and the apartment blows up in flames. Spider Man sees this and screams loudly. His family was gone. Green Goblin just simply cackles above and says that now he knows true pain. He then tells Spider Man that now his justice has been served. Spider Man screams again and lunges at Spider Man, tackling him down. He punches Goblin again and again with his emotions. The two hit the ground and Spider Man webbed Green Goblin down. You killed my family, and for that you're gonna pay, Spider Man yells out. The glider goes after Spider Man, and Spider Man knocks the glider down and punches at it until it was broken. Spider Man then grabs the front of the glider where the blades were at and was about to kill Goblin. But before he could see Green Goblin's side of his mask cracked, showing a tiny part of Harry's face. Spider-Man sees that it was the same boy from the Columbia University Genetics Laboratory. Harry tells Spider-Man with a tear coming out that he just wanted to help Peter. He wanted to find a way to make him feel better, with this being the only way. The police and Norman's car arrive. Captain Stacy and Norman get out and go to Spider-Man and Green Goblin's location. Norman sees with sorrow that it was his own son. He tells Captain Stacy that he had no knowledge of this, and he is so disappointed and angry. Captain Stacy tells Harry as Spider-Man puts the glider down that he was under arrest for theft and murder. As Captain Stacy is putting Harry in the car, Spider-Man takes his mask off, showing Flint's bruised face. He tells Norman that his name was Flint Marko. He didn't mean for any of this to happen. He just wanted money to save his dying daughter. But then all of this happened. His daughter was now gone. He doesn't know what to do next. Norman tells Flint that he understands what it's like, having no other choice but to do what was necessary. And they've taken that step together. Norman then tells Flint that if he turns himself in peacefully, he'll do whatever it takes to help him out. Flint agrees to it, saying to tell Peter Parker and everyone else in his family the reasons for this, and Norman promises that he will. Flint goes over to Captain Stacy and tells him that he'll go peacefully. Captain Stacy puts handcuffs on him, telling Flint that he had made the wise choice, and he'll help him out too. All of them drove away as the firefighters were putting out the fire at the home of Flint Marko. As a few days passed, the news went viral. They explained all that had happened. Harry was expelled from Midtown High and was sent to prison to try to get the help he needed to heal mentally. Flint Marko was excused in the courts by Norman Osborn and was found out to be the black-suited Spider-Man. Norman was back as the CEO of Oscorp, and he did as he agreed with the board members of creating cyber soldiers. Peter Parker has woken up from his coma and is fully healed from the shot he has taken earlier. He forgave Flint for what had happened and everything was going very well. Flint visited him here and there, and he was like a second father to Peter. When Peter was back at school, he and MJ started to hang out, becoming great friends. Surprisingly, Surprisingly, Flash was alright with it. He still needed to get used to it, but he knew that Peter should at least get a refreshing start after being in a coma. And because of Flash's kindness, Peter and Flash started to actually become close friends. One day, Norman calls up Flint to meet him at the Osborn residence. Norman tells Flint that he has the powers as Spider-Man for a good reason, and he wants to give him a new suit, something more comfortable and better looking. Flint follows Norman into the secret room where Harry hid the things as the Green Goblin, and it was replaced with computers and other forms of technology, basically a laboratory of research. Norman pushes a button and the wall opens up, showing Flint's new Spider-Man suit. It was the black and white Future Foundation Spider-Man suit. Flint loved the look. He asks Norman why he is doing all of this, and Norman explains that when he saw him take on his son, rescue Captain Stacy, and all the other things that have happened, he saw something in him, a feeling of wanting to do good for the others. He'll help him achieve that goal. Flint thanks Norman, and he says as he is putting on his new suit that they have a lot of work to do. This is how the story of Flint Marko being bitten by the spider would end. Do you honestly think there should be a continuation in this timeline, like what would happen next in 2004? Let me know if you want to see a part 5 of this Imagine If, and we will see the results. But until the next Imagine If comes, my dear friends, farewell.